So let's do a case study. Colorado. Obviously, since I'm from Colorado, I have more familiarity with what's happening there than I do anywhere else. And have to show you another picture again of my dog and my stepson, who is now 20 years old. So he's a little bit bigger than here. And this is overlooking Golden, Colorado. So what better place to do a case study? So we talked about retail rescues operating under a retail business model. And all the retail rescues that we're going to talk about are rescues that we're going to talk about here in this case study. Um, I would argue operate under that model. Now, what we're going to look at in terms of the data is the 10 largest rescues in Colorado and everything else. And this illustrates here, as you can see, that the 10 largest rescues are pretty big. The 10 largest account for 35% of all dogs and puppies that are handled by rescues in the state. From this time period, 2017 to 2021, each of these 10 rescues handled an average of almost 1,300 dogs and puppies each year for the last 5 years. I don't know about you, but 1,300 dogs and puppies sounds like a large volume. Retail rescues also have a bias towards puppies. And so this illustrates the 10 largest rescues, the percentage of all puppies handled by rescues. The 10 largest account for 48%. So that is to say that nearly half of all the puppies that are handled by all the rescues were handled by those 10 largest rescues. And during this period, each of the 10 largest rescues handled an average of nearly 1,000 puppies each year. Now, the previous slide, we said puppies and dogs, they had handled 1,300. So yes, 1,000 of that 1,300 are puppies. So another characteristic of a retail rescue is that they traffic in dogs and puppies. And one way to think about this is the puppies that are imported from out of state. Now, granted, we look at Colorado and we know that there's an undersupply of dogs for the population and what the population wants. And so there's going to be a fair amount of importation, or there can be. But the 10 largest rescues import 92% of their dogs from out of state. So they help 8% of Colorado dogs. Excuse me, 8% of the puppies that they handle are from Colorado. Now, as I said, the undersupply in Colorado results in a fair amount of importation regardless of the rescue. So the rescues outside of those 10 largest import about 62% of their puppies. So it's not, it's not nothing, right? Because there's more demand. But 38% of the puppies that are handled by rescues, other than the 10 largest, 38% of them are from the state of Colorado. So are Colorado's largest rescues retail rescues? Let's go through the criteria we talked about. So retail business model, check. Large volume, check, 1,300 dogs per year. That seems like a lot to me. There's a bias towards juveniles. 1,000 of those 1,300 are puppies. Check. That's a bias towards juveniles. Trafficked dogs and puppies, check. 92% of them are imported from out of state for these 10 largest rescues. Do they serve their community? They do not serve their community. These rescues do not have vaccine clinics. They do not have spay and neuter clinics. They do not have education outreach. They are purely in business to do business. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, who these rescues are, and I've already been threatened to be sued by one of them. So I won't list them here, but anybody who wants them can go to canineadvocacy.org, shoot me a message, and I will be happy to provide them to you. I'm just hesitant to do it here because I don't want to get sued. Now, I will also say that any one of these may not make a rescue, a retail rescue in my mind. For example, Res Dog Rescue does amazing work, and they do a lot of dogs. They do a lot of puppies, and almost all of them come from New Mexico. These are animals that are being rescued from the Navajo Nation, where resources are slim. There's not an opportunity for vet care, for health and wellness, for spay and neuter, for vaccines, and so these dogs need a better life. But not only does Res Dog bring those dogs into Colorado for adoption, they also perform spay neuter and vaccine clinics on the Navajo Nation as well as in Colorado. They do a lot of public outreach, and just in general, they're doing it right. So they're doing a large volume. They do a lot of puppies, but they do a great service to their community. So I would argue that while they're in the, say, top 15, top 12, top 15, that I wouldn't categorize them as a retail rescue. So last year, I participated in creating a two-part news story with our CBS News, our local CBS news station, and this is the first part of that story. And this is the second part to that video. I apologize, there's some repetition, but there's also some new information here. Okay, so I said before that a socially conscious animal community it really is a framework for us to understand our role or roles in producing the best outcomes for pets. And I like this illustration that the Socially Conscious Sheltering and Communities organization published. I think it gives a great graphic representation of what we're talking about with a socially conscious animal community. And you're shown on this graphic as one spoke of this wheel, which is really important. And there are aspects of the rest of this wheel that you can impact that multiplies the work that you are doing as an individual citizen. So with regard to public policy and legislation, if you're interested in animal welfare policy, there are certainly organizations that you can get to know and potentially join to help in those efforts. When it comes to media, and that's probably something more like we're thinking of social media these days, it's twofold. One is just being sure that what you're posting is accurate. Fact check what you're posting or reposting. We know there's a lot of misinformation out there, and we don't want to contribute to that. The other piece to social media is that, of course, using it as a platform for the things that you care about, and clearly you care about animal welfare, and so promoting animal welfare issues on your own social media is one way you can contribute to this community. You're all, most of you are involved in law enforcement as animal control officers, and so you're boots on the ground when it comes to this spoke of wheel. And when you're out doing the tough work that you do, when you see holes in the system, or things that just don't work as well as they could, I'd encourage you to be vocal about that, and to work with your shelter, your communities, to plug those holes. When it comes to shelters and rescues, those organizations, of course, always need volunteers, and giving, and and donations, non-financial donations. If you've got anything from blankets and towels and or dog food, whatever it is, there are plenty of non-financial items that shelters and rescues can use. And then lastly, with regard to veterinarians, I think that really veterinarians contribute to this whole system in a lot of ways, but mainly in keeping animals healthy. And so your part in that aspect is to keep your own animal healthy, and to spay and neuter your animals, ensure they have their vaccines, and that also applies to behavior. Veterinarians deal with a lot of behavior issues, and so it's being the responsible pet owners that you are, and ensuring the health and well-being of your own pet. So we're coming to the end here. Thank you all for sticking with me. So starting today, what I am asking you to do is to educate yourself about a socially conscious animal community, and to promote this within your own communities. Share your knowledge with your community. I hope that you learned a thing or two here that you found interesting, important, or just the knowledge that you already have. Be there in your community and be a source of knowledge for your family, for your place of worship, for your community, wherever it is you may be. Keep your dog healthy and safe in your home and community. My dog does not like other dogs, and so I know, as beautiful as she is, and so I need to be responsible for that when I'm out in my community. Okay, I need to keep my community safe and other dogs safe. Not that my dog's gonna, mutilate another dog, but I know that about her, and I take responsibility for that. So I am keeping my dog healthy and safe in my home and my community by recognizing what her limitations are and working within those. Finally, I'm asking you, starting today, to support animal welfare advocates by volunteering or giving. And here's where I plug National Canine. We can always use volunteers to help with social media, to help with research, to help with outreach, um, you name it. We can always use your help volunteering and giving. For many of us, we don't have a lot of time to volunteer, but we can show our support by giving. And so National Canine Advocacy Group would appreciate your support through giving, through volunteering. You can also support just by asking questions and reaching out. And if you have ideas or things that you think ought to be researched or things that are not, don't seem right in your community, and you want some support in making the changes that you want to see, that's what we're here for. Okay.